Blaster Master is probably my favorite game for the Nintendo Entertainment System. This is one that I've been waiting a long time to do a review of, primarily because I needed to find the time to sit down and play it again. This is a long adventure game, and it's a lot of fun. The graphics and the controls of this game are about the best on the Nintendo that I can think of. It's just very responsive. Everything is very intuitive. They give you a glimpse of the story at the beginning. Apparently your pet frog falls down a hole and there's a bunch of mutants and radioactive stuff down there, and you go after him, and it's a very plausible story. There just happens to be your truck tank thing there, which has a name. Her name is Sophia the Third. A very sweet feminine name for a destructive tank-like thing. This game was pretty revolutionary in that it combined the side-scrolling adventure game with an overhead mode as well, where you hopped out of Sophia and then ran into the doorway, and you'd go through these little overhead levels. That's where you get power-ups and missiles and the electro bolt for Sophia and fight the end bosses. As I mentioned before, the graphics in this game are outstanding for the Nintendo. The music is terrific. And the level design is memorable. I just remember this game and how much I liked this game when I was growing up. It wasn't a straightforward game like Contra or a Ninja Gaiden or some of those other games. And this one, you got to a certain point, and after each end boss, you would win a different device for Sophia. The most memorable, to me at least, was the hovering device, where your wheels turn into little jet things, and your truck would float around in the air. But the level design was pretty neat because there were areas that you couldn't go to until you got the next upgrade for your truck thing. I'm just not sure what to call it. I'll just call it your truck. And when you get to a certain point, I think it's level 3, and you beat the end boss for level 3, you then have to actually backtrack through all the levels back to level 1, and we'll see that in a bit. All these old Nintendo games had seemed to have these levels where there were yellow and black caution lines. Ninja Gaiden being one I can think of recently. I just played. I guess that's the stereotypical factory sort of level. If you noticed there, I'm using the hover device because I couldn't get up onto that ledge before. So I beat the end boss, I got hover, I get up there, and then you'll see that now that I'm backtracking through all the levels to get to level 1, where I have to use hover to then go straight up and get to level 4. This game is a tremendous adventure. And playing it 20-some years later, it's just as enjoyable as it was. back in 1988 or 1989 whenever I played this for the first time. Has a great variety of enemies. The design is really nice. It's a very well designed game. Every piece of it, every part of it is well designed. The backgrounds are neat. The enemy characters are neat. Your Sophia tank truck is very neat. So it's all in all a very pleasant game to look at. And quite memorable. I told a few people I was going to be reviewing Blaster Master, people who aren't even big video gamers, and they remember this game. As you progress further down into the depths, you see the pipes and the water and the sewage. Really nice attention to detail. This is the kind of game, honestly, I would have expected to see on the Sega Genesis, not the Nintendo. Graphical limitations aside, it does seem like a good 16-bit action game. It has an interesting variety of end bosses, and your big-headed character has two weapons. He has a gun and grenades, which you can pretty much use simultaneously. When you beat the frog, you get a key, and that's how you get into the next level. I have nothing bad to say about this game whatsoever. The only criticism I could possibly give this game is that it doesn't have a password function to remember where you were. You have a couple continues, but they eventually run out. When I was a kid, I had a lot more time than I do now, so I was playing the game, I got to level 5, and couldn't quite remember how to beat the crab guy, and was going to keep going, but then I had previous commitments where I had to walk the dog and do yard work. It's pretty sad when you grow up and you have to put yard work ahead of Blaster Master. I'm pretty sure there'll be a part 2 of this review when I can get some time to play the game again, now that I remember the levels. And we'll go through the rest of Blaster Master, because it's just a tremendous game, and if you haven't played it, you need to. Damn it! Get up and fight that crab, you bitch!